Hello and welcome to Michigan Notary Law's section on identification requirements. The role of a Michigan notary public is defined by the state of Michigan as follows. A notary public is an officer commissioned by the Secretary of State to serve as an unbiased and impartial witness. The most common function of a notary is to prevent fraud by attesting to the identity of a person signing a document. Notarization on a document certifies that a person whose signature is entered on the document appeared before the notary public, established his or her identity, and personally signed the document. The state goes on further to identify notary responsibilities as follows. Every citizen appointed as a notary public has a duty to learn and understand the notary laws. Michigan notaries public are required to conform to the Michigan Notary Public Act 238, established in 2003 as amended. The current law, with the latest amendments effective March 12, 2019, is available at the Michigan Legislature's website. The following can result in penalties and/or a current notary's commission being revoked. Any violation of the Michigan Law on Notarial Acts 238 of 2003 as amended. A violation of the public's trust. An act of official misconduct, dishonesty, fraud, or deceit, or failure to perform an act substantially related to the duties or responsibilities of a notary. Going back to the state's definition of a notary, the most common function of a notary is to prevent fraud by attesting to the identity of the person signing a document. It makes sense that one of the most important parts of a notary's job is focused on the identity of the signer. So what are some acceptable forms of identification according to the Michigan Notarial Act? State-issued driver's license or a state-issued ID card. A U.S. passport issued by the U.S. Department of State. A U.S. military ID. State, county, or local government ID. Or a permanent resident green card issued by Immigration Services. What are some frequently asked questions when we get a little bit more specific on some of the identification that you may be presented with? Can a notary accept an expired ID in Michigan? The answer is no. A notary may not use an expired driver's license to establish the identity of a signer to provide notary services. The state-issued driver's license or state ID must be current and contain a photograph and signature of the signer. And this is specifically identified in Act 238 as identified on the basis of a current license, identification card, or record issued by a federal or state government that contains the person's photograph and signature. Can a notary accept a document that has been pre-signed? And the answer is no. A notary must be in the presence of the signer. Specifically in the Act, it states, in all matters where the notary public takes a verification upon oath or affirmation, or witnesses or attests to a signature, the notary public shall require that the individual sign the record being verified, witnessed, or attested in the presence of the notary public. And what are the consequences for violating a notary law, such as the identification laws? Michigan Notary Publics Act 238 in Section 39 states that the Secretary of State may investigate or cause to be investigated by local authorities the administration of notary public laws and shall report violations of the notary public laws and rules to the Attorney General or prosecuting attorney, or both, for prosecution. At the end of the day, it is just very, very important to remember that a notary takes an oath to uphold all of the state guidelines. And the guidelines are provided by the state, and so they're really not negotiable. You should never allow someone to pressure you to act outside of these guidelines, because the understanding is this is your job, this was the oath that you took, and you don't want to subject yourself to any of the consequences. Failure to abide by notary rules can result in penalties or loss of commission. And the same notary rules apply for any customer or any document type. Before you sign and stamp, know your basic notary laws and understand how to implement them. A notary public is an officer commissioned by the Michigan Secretary of State to serve as an unbiased and impartial witness on business, public, and other documents. Legal documents are notarized to ensure that transactions are properly executed and to deter fraud. You want to collect photo ID for all of your signers because the most common function of the notary is to prevent fraud by attesting to the identity of a person signing a document. Collecting photo IDs before you sign any of the documentation ensures that the photo ID is valid and not expired, and that the form of ID is one that is acceptable to the state. And lastly, understand your document requirements. A notary is tasked with verifying not only the identification of the signer, but the authenticity of the documents, and they serve as an impartial witness when signing legal documents. Review your documents, and this way you know that you are conforming to the notary requirements for anything that is maybe being filed in a different state. This can include whether witnesses are needed or if that state or organization or document itself requires a specific pen color. Don't forget, you always have resources. There is a notary training video that is available from the Office of the Great Seal, and that is on YouTube. You can always visit the michigan.gov/SOS website, and that is going to take you to the Secretary of State and all of the notary resources that are available. You can look into penalties and loss of commission that pertains to violations to the notary law, and that is available on the Michigan Legislature's website. The Michigan Notary Public Act in its entirety is available at www.legislature.mi.gov, and you can also reach out by phone or fax to the Office of the Great Seal. You're encouraged to leave a message, and they will get back to you within 24 to 48 hours. Thanks so much, and happy signing.